The Jubilee leaders were giving an update and some of their feedback on the process so far, and part of it was on the state of security guiding this particular process. And there has been some commotion in some of the polling stations witnessed, and we'll be able to get an update from Vincent Odor because we had some pictures showing some commotion. But first of all, let's talk to Silas Apollo to give us an update on what's been happening at Lindi polling station. Silas?
Yes, Mark Masai, just as Leila Mohammed has said, the election has been going on smoothly in most of the polling stations that we visited. Of course, save for the few pockets of violence that were witnessed in a number of polling stations over claims of voter bribery. Right now, we are back to the Ayani Primary School, where we started our coverage today morning at around 6:30 in the morning. The voting has been going on here smoothly. Of course, this is also where we saw a number of ODM members of parliament and former members of parliament and former senators pitching camp. And the reason why they pitch camp here is because they were saying that they want to ensure that today goes on smoothly, and that's to ensure that the voting exercise takes off in time and closes off in time, and to marshal people to come and vote. Remember, this election is quite a high stake for the ODM party, of course, coming in the wake of what just Leila has said, that Raila Odinga has been member of parliament for this constituency for a long time, and so it's deemed as a bedrock for the ODM party. And so members of the ODM party are led by Raila Odinga, of course, have been making sure that everything goes on smoothly. Remember, ODM party, of course, has also been making a lot of demands to the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission. One of them, and the most consistent one, is that they want the list of the voters' registers given to them, which was given to them yesterday. Of course, we spoke to ODM chairman John Mbadi earlier on in the day, of course, in one of the polling stations, that is Ayan bus stop polling station. And one of the concerns that Mbadi was raising was the fact that the voter register was given to them late, and the fact that they had to consistently talk to the IEBC, consistently speak to IEBC, and consistently ask the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission to supply the voter register. And of course, they were saying that they were reading sinister motives in the deliberate, what they called the deliberate effort by the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission to fail to give them those, the list as they had required in time. And so there's been a lot of tension here and there, pockets of tension. Of course, we also saw McDonald Marega, who is the Jubilee Party candidate, moving along. He was earlier in different polling stations here, in one in Lindi Ward, where he moved. Of course, McDonald Marega, as you're aware, has been having issues in terms of his voter registration. That was an issue, of course, which almost blocked his bid for the candidacy for the Kibra election. Of course, today he was moving around just checking what was happening. We moved around with him. And the most curious thing is that we did not see him cast his vote. What we saw him do was assist, of course, some of the elderly people, of course, to access the polling centers, to accept the polling stations, to cast their votes. And when we spoke to him earlier on, what he said is that he's confident that the exercise has kicked off well. He's confident that, of course, his supporters will turn out in large numbers and vote for him. The same sentiments, of course, that were, of course, shared by Langata Member of Parliament, Nixon Korir, who we also spoke to earlier today here at Ayani Primary School. Who said that, of course, as Jubilee Party, they're confident that they've done all it takes, they've campaigned enough, they've rallied their supporters enough, and come the end of the day, come the end of the exercise, that is the close of the exercise at 5:30 p.m. and the vote and the counting of the vote starts, they're sure of a victory. Of course, this race also brings together the ANC party, which is led by Eliud Owalo. Owalo, of course, earlier voted in a station where my colleague Leila was, but he also came to Lindi, where he was coming to, of course, supervise and see the exercise, whether it was going on smoothly, what are the hitches, what are the issues. And also, it is also at this polling station, that is Ayan Primary School, where we experienced, of course, voters and raising concerns in terms of the reallocation of the movement of the polling centers that were in Olympic Primary School and Olympic Secondary School to Ayani Primary School. They were saying that some of those decisions were made late by the IEBC. Some of them are saying that they were given the notices on SMSs, which they were saying were a bit inconveniencing. There were also the complaints in terms of the list was confusing, because given the fact that the list of voters was moved from Olympic Primary School to Ayan Primary School meant, of course, that they had to come here, look for the list, look for their names. But of course, the exercise has been going on smoothly since some of those mishap were, of course, addressed. Also, there's the issue of hitch in terms of the KM's kits, but so far, everything seems to be going on well. In areas where the KIEMS kit did not work, of course, the IEBC ensured that they had backups. In cases they did not have the backups, of course, they resorted to using manual registry. So things have been going on pretty well, despite the pockets of violence that we've been experiencing in parts of the constituency. Of course, our police also took action. We've seen heavy presence of police in some of the polling stations, of course, some of the places that were deemed to be conflict, of course, prone areas. And so police have been, of course, vigilant in the areas. And voters here are saying that they expect the results to be they expect the exercise to be free, fair, and credible. So we'll be keeping tabs with what is going on, move along, and of course go to other polling stations, see what is happening to give you the updates going forward. But so far, so good. Things are going on well. Both parties and of course all the participants, all the candidates, their agents, and even the parties, of course, that are fielded candidates here are saying that they're confident and content, of course, with the way the exercise is being carried. So for now, back to you, Mark, in studio.